The film resumes with Sultan Qureshi and 3 of his men assassinating Sardar Khan. When Danish, Sardar's eldest son, Faisal, Sardar's second son, and Asghar, Sardar's cousin, arrive to recover his body, Danish murders the lone captured killer and promises to kill the other 3 as well. Danish and Asghar told Faisal that the night before Sardar's death, his friend Fazlo Ahmed laced Faisal with marijuana and alerted Sultan that Sardar would be traveling without bodyguards the next day. Later, Faisal encounters Fazlo and overhears him on the phone with another of Sardar Khan's killers, Sagar. Faisal discovers that Sagar would be at the shopping center the next morning. Danish and Asghar go shopping the next day, and Danish murders Sagar. Sultan and Fazlo then murder Danish in front of a courthouse. Nugma questions Faisal's capacity to wreak retribution at Danish's funeral, but Faisal assures her that he will. Faisal keeps a low profile and waits for the proper opportunity. Faisal meets Fazlo to congratulate him on his victory in a municipal election, but instead beheads him. Faisal makes his mark and becomes so feared as a result that illegal iron traffickers become his friends. Faisal then strikes an agreement with Ramadhir Singh. Ramadhir agreed to provide political assistance to Faisal's company in Wasseypur in exchange for Faisal not avenging his father, brother, and grandparents. Faisal marries his sweetheart Masina Hamid as his business expands. Faisal's group then uses an accomplice to track out Sardar's third murderer, Khalid. Faisal shaves Khalid's head and then shoots him, infuriating Sultan. Sardar's third son, Perpendicular, and Definite Khan, Sardar's son with Durga, are next introduced. Perpendicular is a 14-year-old who gets away with shoplifting because no one is ready to testify against him for fear of Faisal, and Definite is a rising goon. Meanwhile, Wasseypur has produced a new generation of money-losing lobbyists who become gangsters overnight. Shamshad Alam, a small-time goon, starts his own transport company before moving on to trading iron and forming an alliance with Faisal. Shamshad pledges to boost Faisal's revenues with his in-depth understanding of the scrap iron industry. Shamshad, on the other hand, begins to keep an increasing share of the earnings for himself. When Faisal discovers this, Shamshad goes to the police station and delivers phone calls as proof of Faisal's involvement in the illegal iron trade. Meanwhile, local shops have had enough of Perpendicular's pranks and pay Sultan to murder him. Meanwhile, Ramadhir is losing faith in his son J.P's capacity to administer his empire, and J.P frequently finds himself in hot water as a result of his ineptitude. As a result, JP's prominence and influence decline. After watching a movie, Sultan's men pursue Perpendicular and his pal Tangent. Tangent returns to Faisal's residence, but Sultan captures and murders Perpendicular beside some railway tracks. When Faisal and his gang arrive on the site and begin to remove Perpendicular's body, the police come and arrest Faisal. With Faisal imprisoned, Definite plans to assassinate Shamshad before Shamshad attempts to fill Faisal's vacated post. However, Definite's weapon jams in the middle of the assassination attempt, forcing him to flee. Shamshad and his companion pursue him, but Definite escapes by jumping into a train. However, the train is packed with Indian Army men, and Definite is apprehended. He is imprisoned, where he meets Faisal. Ramadhir tells Shamshad to free Definite and then use him against his own brother for the sake of his empire. Durga worked as a cook for Ramadhir after Sardar died, so Ramadhir believes he has the clout to pit Definite against Faisal. Before Definite leaves the jail, Faisal warns him about Shamshad's plot. Definite pays a visit to Shamshad's office and detonates a grenade, forcing Shamshad to lose his leg. Sultan, who was also present in Shamshad's office, pursues Definite and goes to Faisal's house in search of him. Sultan instead finds his sister Shama instead of Definite. Despite Shama's joy at seeing him, Sultan shoots her in the head, sending her into a coma. When Faisal is set to be released from prison, Jayat warns Sultan and encourages him to kill Faisal as a precaution. Sultan and his gang attack Faisal's house, but Faisal and his entire family escape safely. As Sultan's group is departing, they come across a police checkpoint and recognize they have been duped by JP. Sultan flees during the ensuing shootout. A few days later, Sultan's men murder Nugma and Asghar in broad daylight at a market. Definite and other members of Faisal's gang track Sultan down and murder him in Bhagalpur. Faisal begs Definite to submit to solidify his name after learning that he has avenged Danish, Shama, Nugma, and Asghar. With Definite imprisoned, Ramadhir intends to cause a schism between Definite and Faisal. Ikhlaq, a well-educated Englishman, joins Faisal's group. Ikhlaq, Ramadhir's mole, truly intends to wreak retribution. When Sardar Khan discovered that Ikhlaq's father had raped a Wasseypur woman in 1985, he compelled Ikhlaq's father to divorce his wife and marry the woman he had raped. Depicted in Part 1. Ikhlaq is his father's son from his first marriage, which he divorced. Faisal is initially amazed by Ikhlaq's abilities and is later made aware of Ikhlaq's heritage, which he chooses to disregard. Ikhlaq is an adept businessman who wins junk auctions via force. This generates a large return for Faisal with no risk, causing him to overlook Definite. Ikhlaq suggests that Faisal enter politics in order to have political protection for all of his actions. Faisal resolves to run for Ramadhir's seat in order to extract his own vengeance. Feeling threatened, Ramadhir attempts to employ Definite against Faisal. He frees Definite and sent J.P. to negotiate a bargain. J.P., on the other hand, is sick of his father's taunts and plans to kill him with Faisal. Ramadhir's plan is for Ikhlaq to kill Faisal on election day, and if he is unable to do so, Definite will take the shot. Definite immediately approaches Faisal and informs him of the idea. Definite's gang disrupts the elections by force on election day in an attempt to prevent Faisal from winning. Ikhlaq leads Faisal to a remote location and attempts to murder them, but Definite arrives, double-crosses Ikhlaq, and kills him. Ramadhir revised the plan, according to Definite. Faisal makes the decision to attack Ramadhir. He is aware that Ramadhir is visiting Shamshad in the hospital. Faisal, Definite, and other gang members board an ambulance loaded with guns and drive to the hospital. As the police come, Faisal shoots all of Ramadhir's men as they enter the hospital. He allows other civilians to leave the hospital but murders Shamshad. Faisal then finds Ramadhir in a washroom and murders him by emptying several magazines of bullets into his body. Meanwhile, the cops kill the majority of Faisal's group. The only survivors, Faisal and Definite, are apprehended. The police stop for refreshments on the way to prison, leaving Faisal alone in the police van. Definite then shoots Faisal to death. J.P. is shown to be the mastermind behind the massacre, and Definite is seen free and headed towards his mother. Masina and Nasir have moved to Mumbai with Faisal's small boy 4 years later. Wasseypur is now definitively ruled. Nasir claims that the deaths of Ramadhir and Faisal had no effect on Wasseypur, and that it is still a battlefield.